Everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. I'm really excited for today's guest because she has been a constant audience in the Author Collaboratives, and I have read her book and I have really enjoyed it. And I'm excited to have her as a guest today because I was also a part of her podcast not a long time ago. And we really had a good chat. We already have her. I am just going to invite her in a few seconds. So I was invited to her podcast and we had a really good chat. We were laughing so much and we learned so much from each other. Today I am hoping to recreate that, or have even more fun than we had the last time we had such a conversation. So without further ado, I'm just going to add her and begin today's episode. Let's wait for a few seconds. Yes, us in a few seconds. Hello, Books Review Bag. Thank you for joining. I'm waiting for my guest to join me so we can begin today's episode. Hello, Nilshree. So happy to have you as a guest.
Oh my, ask me, it's been 4 or 5 months कि मैं अब live आ रही हूँ सब. It's been long and I'm very much excited, looking forward to this conversation today.
I'm also very excited because I was just telling the viewers that the last time we spoke like this, it was on your podcast, and now you're doing this. Now you are my guest, so it's really like full circle.
Yes, yes,
Before we go ahead, I just want you to introduce yourself and tell us about the book that we are going to talk about.
definitely. So, hello guys, my name is Nilshree. I am an engineer by qualification, but I've been on a maternity break since 2015, and I started writing in the year 2018. It started from a paragraph to blog to stories and then to books. So that has been the journey so far. I am now also a founder of Authropod, which is a quarterly e-magazine, and the podcast that Manali has been talking about is just an extension to the magazine. So it's an e-magazine and it's exclusively for authors. The idea for Authropod came from my own struggles of promoting my books. So that is about me so far. The book today we are going to discuss is Hear Me Out. It's an anthology. It has 13 stories and it's all by women authors. It is by women authors, but it is for all, so anybody can read it.
We have Shweta here. She's saying wow, and then she has said, amazing to hear, both looking forward. Thank you so much, Shweta. We are also looking forward to this because Nilshree and I have been planning this since a couple of months now, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
now it's finally happening. uh, okay, we have a lot of viewers who are sending us hearts. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Stay connected. Shreyas is saying hi to you.
Hi, Shreyas.
Okay, so before I ask you my questions related to the book, I want you to read out a paragraph or two so people get an idea of what the book is all about.
Okay, so what I usually do is I just scroll the pages, but today I've decided to be a little selfish and read my own story from this book.
Yes,
And
definitely. You are the guest. So let's focus on you.
yes, so I'm reading the last story from this book, and the title of the story is The Childless Mom.
Okay.
And before I start reading this this story is a real one, and it's uh, based on my experience of my very close friend who cannot conceive. So she was my colleague in my last organization, and we are still in touch. Uh, and I have deliberately not disclosed the name in the whole story. It's written in first person, so I. There's no name in the story.
Okay.
So here it goes. Why does not God bless everyone equally? Some are born with a disability, which are visible, and some are invisible. Some are born with a silver spoon. Some struggle to get a spoonful meal to fill their handful cravings. Yes, I have my share of ranting too. I cannot conceive, cannot give birth to a child. Often I am labeled with different titles and tortured with different questions which are very sensitive and personal in nature. I do not feel like sharing everything with everyone. It is very painful for me to keep talking and justifying my share of story. There are times when I curse myself when I'm alone, and I wear the cape of confidence and contentment when I have people around. Don't we all do it? Of course, we have our set of reasons for the same, and here is mine. So, the rest of story, I think you should read it for yourself.
Yes. Not giving away too much. Just the right amount to create curiosity. Good one. And I must say that was one of the stories which touched me the most because infertility is something that we don't often address in such stories, and I believe a lot of women face a lot of grief because of that. So kudos to you on touching upon such a subject. And all the 13 stories, in fact, they touch upon a stigma or something like this issue, and that's something which I really loved. And the first question that came to my mind was, there's one particular character which connects all the stories, and her name is Asha. So I
Yes.
want to understand how this concept came into mind and how it was, put into implementation.
So there's a WhatsApp group of all these authors that I have, and
Okay.
once the year starts, January, February is the time we start discussing कि अब March में क्या लाना है.
Okay.
So the previous year we did a book called Stamp Sealed but Unsent, and it was by 27 women, and they were
Wow.
letters that were unsent,
Hmm.
which did not have any destination, and they landed up into the book, I would say. So the
Okay.
next year, few of them remained the same. There were new additions, and some of them left the group because of their prior commitments. So I was watching TV in the evening. There were a lot of themes that were being discussed, but none of us were totally convinced that this should be
Hmm.
taken forward.
Hmm.
But then there is this Marathi channel called ABP Maza. It's a news channel, but they had an initiative, especially related to mental health. And
Okay.
there is a book by Dr. Nandu. He's a very famous psychiatrist from Nanded, and that book was converted into a series, and that series was being aired.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
did
Okay.
all the research, and then I understood that there is one common character, one psychiatrist, and he is helping people. And that series was not the way we have put our book. It was about general issues that everybody has in life. So, like a
Hmm.
12th standard kid who is over pressured by his parents for studies and entrance exams and everything. So,
Okay.
these are the kind of issues that were there. But when we thought of making it, and I just thought, ki, women, we all have so many issues in life and we don't talk about them. So let us put it in this way. But then what happens is, if we only talk about the issue, there's no solution to it. It's just a normal
Hmm.
ranting.
Hmm.
So there
Correct.
should be someone who is listening to it and addressing to it, या फिर कुछ solution दे रहा है, या
Hmm.
सामने वाले को समझा रहा है. There should be some end to it. It should not be just the rant and just the issue. So that's where the character of Asha came in, and I was very adamant about she being a female, because I think a woman understands another woman like no one else does. So that was the reason. And then Asha was the name where we thought the lady should be somewhere in middle age. So there were many new names that meant Asha, but then they would not have portrayed her a middle-aged woman. So we kept it
Mhm.
Asha, simple and
Okay.
something that would give meaning to what we are trying to do.
That's wonderful. I'm so inspired by your story that while watching some news channel and reading about some series and some psychiatrist, you were inspired to make that the theme of your anthology. That's really nice, and it has come across well. That one character of Asha, which connects all the stories. It's like we want an Asha in our life also.
Yes. And it's not like that Asha is only listening to what they are saying. In some stories, she's also learning from them.
Yes.
And in some stories, she's relating to what happened with her also in past. So it's not she only giving the gyan and everything, but
Mhm.
it's the other way around. It's a two-way process.
Right. Which brings me to my second question, because this is an anthology and you have done this quite a few times already. So I want to understand, uh, what are the advantages of having such an anthology? What is the process, and what has your experience been like with the whole thing? And also, if some what the viewers want to know, how would they approach or become a part of an anthology like this?
Okay, so when I started writing in the year 2018, I started reaching out to groups that were related to writing. And then
Hmm.
there I saw a post which said, if you want to be a part of an anthology, just submit your content. I submitted my content and I was waiting for 6 months, 8 months. There was no update. There was a closed WhatsApp group that was made, and the guy used to send message on the group every day saying, send more content, send more content.
Okay.
Almost 500 people had sent their content. I did not know what
Wow.
was going to happen with mine, and there was no news about the book. So I thought, does it really take this much time to make an anthology? I
Yeah.
was curious.
Yeah.
But to my experience, what happened, it was the other way around for me. So stamp, seal, but unsent, the process started in February. 1st
Hmm.
February started, and 8th March the book was ready.
Hmm.
So the women were so particular and so prompt. They sent their responses on time, and I was like, if this is so easy, I should do it once in a year.
Okay. So all the women who are watching this, approach Nilshree if you want to be a part of an
Yes, yes.
anthology, and it is assured that she will have the anthology out in March
Yes.
every
So
year.
with letting out, it was with a little delay because the concept being little difficult. Um, to a couple of them, I had to, one-on-one समझाना पड़ा मुझे कि
Hmm.
how it is going to be, how you should portray your
Hmm.
story. But then, with a little delay, on Mother's Day we released it in the month of
Okay,
May.
that's
So
also a good day.
yes,
Yeah. Okay, so but how does this actually work? You go to a publisher or you self-publish them?
I self-published them on
Okay, that's
Notion.
wonderful. Yeah, yeah. That actually expedites the process, I think, because if you wait for
Yes,
a
yes,
publisher, yeah, it takes longer. So that's a
yes,
good call. And again, whoever is listening and is interested in getting published in an anthology, Nilshree is the person to contact.
yes, yes. Even if you are an author looking to promote your work or anything, you can reach out to me for author report as well.
Yes, that is also another great platform. I have been a guest there, so I know it was a good experience and it helped to promote my book. So yes, talk to Nilshree. She's the person.
Yes.
Okay, that brings me to the end of my questions that I had for you. I leave the floor open to you now.
Yes. So, Manali, I would request you to read a tense meeting from your book. And this
Ah,
time it's a
okay.
different request for change.
Yeah, a tennis meeting. Actually, I've never read out before, so thank you for that. Uh, Before I read out the book, I'm just going to tell the viewers what we are talking about. Uh, this is the book of mine that Nilshree has read, and she has been very kind to review it on the e-magazine and on her page as well. She's given it a 4.6, I think. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
and
And
now
guys, that is one book that I have finished in one night after my engineering. So now I understand the intensity and the curiosity to read it.
thank you so much for saying that. So I'm just going to read out one of the poems that Nilshree has requested to me. Tense meeting, right?
Yes.
A tense meeting. Yes, got it. Okay, so this one is titled A Tense Meeting, and it goes: A mistake from the past, haunting the present, something done in an impulse, something that happened eons back, something that was buried in the backlanes of memory, something you believed was done and dusted with, something you have regretted ever since it happened and ended. But now it's back. It's back in a manner you had never imagined. It's back in a way worse than before. It's back such that you are threatened. What if you lose all those you care for? What if it breaks you in a manner you are never the same again? What if everything you have worked so hard for becomes immaterial because of that one thing, that one mistake from the past that refuses to be blocked out? Okay, so that
And
was my
if
poem.
at all
And
in future I do poetry, Manali, it will be because of you. Because I had an impression in my mind that poetry, first of all, is very hi-fi language, and the second thing is rhyme to hona hi chahiye. But then after reading yours, both those misconceptions of mine are cleared, and now I occasionally do poetry also.
Wow, I'm so happy to hear that because मुझे I also had that misconception that poetry has to be rhyming. Last word has to have a rhyming scheme with the following lines and the last word of that line. But वो सब change हो गया. So I'm glad that I was able to change your conception also.
Okay, so now I have a question for you. Having written a poetry book, I would like to know what, according to you, are the musts of a good poem. Like, if you have any checklist, or what fits into that parameter.
Okay. The very good thing or the best thing about poetry, I believe, is that it cannot be put into a box, and it cannot be defined in one particular manner. Uh, each person understands it their own way. Each person has a different takeaway from the poem that they read. Having said that, as you were mentioning right now, that we have a conceived notion in our heads, most of us, that poetry is very heavy. Poetry has a rhyming scheme. Poetry has to have this particular form or something like that in order for it to be, a good poem. But that's not the case. It took me a while, and it took me a lot of understanding to get that idea and imbibe it in myself as a poet also. That नहीं ये इतना जरूरी नहीं है कि ये होना चाहिए एक poem में. It's not necessary that it should have rhyming scheme or it should have a particular form. So, in that process, as per my understanding, what I have come to accept is that the poem has to be simple. You don't have to keep in mind that you are writing only for poets out there or only for people who are lovers of poetry. Uh, you also have to keep in mind that you are touching probably a new audience who has never read a poem before. So उनको समझ में भी आना चाहिए. So first of all, it has to be simple. And one more factor that I have come to realize is very important in today's day and age, in the digital age, is that it has to have relatability. अगर उसमें relatability नहीं है, तो लोगों को पसंद नहीं आएगी. So it should feel like they are reading their story or the story of somebody that they know. So one is simplicity, second is relatability, and the third is it has to have a takeaway. It could be subtle or it could be like direct, but it has to have a takeaway. वो पढ़ के लोगों को ऐसा लगना चाहिए कि हाँ इसमें से मैंने कुछ सीखा या फिर इसमें से मुझे पढ़ के मुझे ऐसा लगा कि हाँ ये तो मेरे साथ भी हुआ है. So like a takeaway from the poem. So these three things: simplicity, relatability, and a takeaway.
Wonderful. And now my next question is, what is your inspiration and your style of poetry, and how much time does it take to complete one poem, like the whole process?
Okay, I am going to answer it in two parts. First, being the inspiration. Inspiration is comes from my own experiences or from the observations that I do. I'm a very keen observer. I listen more than I talk, so that brings me a lot of inspiration for story ideas and poetry ideas. So my own experiences and observations are my inspirations. My style of poetry is like generally long form. I don't do short poetry. But having said that, I have lately also started indulging in poems which are 4 to 5 lines only. Uh, Other than that, I think what my poetry form follows is questioning a lot of things. If you probably have observed in my poems, I tend to ask a lot of questions. कि ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. So that's also one particular thing that I follow. Other than that, I follow different forms. There are sites on Google. If you go and search for forms of poetry, there are like over 200 forms of poetry you can experiment with. I also like to experiment a lot. I have done acrostic, abstract, reverse, everything I have understood first, and then I've tried to imbibe it. So that has kept me excited and be able to produce poetry, which is new also, but is also simple and easy to understand. So, and the process. Now the process depends on first the conception. The inspiration has to come first. You cannot just sit down and begin writing. So, from conception to implementation and completion of the poem, I think it takes anywhere between 20 minutes to 2 days, depending on what the idea is, what the inspiration is, and what kind of form I want to implement in that poem. If it's a new form, it's obviously going to take more than 20 minutes.
Yes, yes.
But if it's a form that I have done before, it could probably take 20 minutes to 2 hours.
Well, I think I need more than both of them, but I somehow crawl and complete it. So maybe with time it will reduce, I think.
Yes. See, I have written poetry for the longest form. I think it's been almost 2 decades since I have been writing poetry. So probably it comes out of that kind of experience that
Yes,
it comes so
yes.
easily to me. Uh, for somebody who's new, obviously it will take time, but we have to
Takes
start
time.
somewhere. So yeah, Google is a very good source for that.
Yes. Google is the ultimate source for anything.
Yes. Okay. That brings us to the end of the questions we had for each other. And we will now begin my favorite part, which is the rapid fire round. Are you ready? We'll do like this. I'll ask one question, you ask one question. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay. My first question to you is being part of an anthology or having a solo book. Oh, what is your preference and why?
I would say anthology because anthology takes lesser time.
Okay.
Because
Smart.
my single contribution and rest of them 7 8 contribute and then the book is ready. In case of solo book, everything has to be mine and it takes time. So I would say anthology.
Okay. But in my experience, I have also edited and compiled one anthology. In my experience, it has not been very, satisfying, I should say, because when you are editing somebody else's work, it becomes more tedious, I believe, because you also have to keep in mind कि उनका thought process क्या था when they wrote this.
Yes, and the storyline and the concept does not have to change. It has to
Yes,
be the same.
yes. Your question.
Okay, so my first question is which role do you enjoy more? Manali the writer or poet or Manali the editor?
Oh, definitely poet. Because वो सबसे easy है, and I am the only one responsible.
You
In the other,
answered partially in the previous thing that you said कि editing में थोड़ा ज़्यादा time लगता है, so I understood, but I still went ahead and asked.
but as an author and a writer also, poetry because it takes the shortest time for me. तो उतना patience नहीं लगता है उसमें. At least for me. My next question to
Yes.
you is writing and managing author pod, which is your e-magazine and the podcast, or being a writer, like managing that writing venture or being an author. What's your preference? What is more enjoyable actually?
More enjoyable is Arthropod, which is clearly visible कि इतने दिनों से मेरा कोई book आया नहीं है because Arthropod is keeping me very much occupied and I'm enjoying it because I get to connect with so many authors and like-minded people. Be it the e-magazine format or the podcast, it's just I think I may have hurried and released 6 books, but now is the time I can take a break and then take it little slowly. It is my time if it's the chance that I'm getting, so I should make most of it and connect with more people and then work on my book.
I can totally relate to that. Yes. Your next one.
My next one is if you ever are asked to write in a pen name, what would it be?
I think I would go with Angel Priya because it will connect a lot of 90s kids and nostalgia. और फिर लोगों को समझ में भी नहीं आएगा ये लड़का है लड़की है तो उस चक्कर में
And the chances of going viral are more with that name,
yes,
I think.
definitely. So I'll stick to Angel Priya
Okay.
without even revealing my gender क्योंकि लोग करते थे ना ऐसा Facebook और Instagram पे बहुत
Yes,
पहले.
yes.
Yeah, my next question to you is something you have heard about yourself and wondered how it came about. Like ये ऐसा तो कभी हुआ ही नहीं.
Okay, so once about an anthology, it happened so that one of the authors got to know that I was paid. Jabki this whole process of anthology, I declare it publicly, is run on a non-monetary basis. So jinka contribution आता है and I do not charge them, I do not pay them, and the process of publishing also happens, self-publish hai, so it happens for free. So money being involved in that was something was surprising to me, because money was not involved, and I have been very transparent with all of my co-authors with the same. So that was something I felt bad about कि ये ऐसे
Yeah.
कैसे किसी ने कहा. So
Can understand. Yeah, that hurts because your intentions are pure and people don't
yes.
get that. Yeah. Okay, your turn.
Okay, I would like to ask you to choose a spirit animal for yourself.
Okay. I have answered this before, but this time I'm going to change it. पहले मैंने sloth कहा था. Now I feel like I should go with rabbit because it's winter right now here and I'm feeling very cold. मुझे fur चाहिए.
I
My
understand.
my next one to you is something you have learned from your child. And it's not the other way around. Like you were mind blown कि हाँ मेरा बच्चा भी मुझे सिखा सकता है तो जरूरी नहीं कि as a parent I am only teaching him.
So मेरे केस में तो मेरा ही बच्चा मुझे सिखा रहा है. I have been very honest about that on my Instagram, like totally. So I had a writer's block, and there was this incident that happened in United States or London, I'm not sure, जहाँ पे one black guy was shot just because his complexion was black. And I was in shock कि ऐसे कैसे complexion की वजह से किसी को कोई मार सकता है. Then a lot of, I think 2 to 3 weeks मैंने कुछ लिखा ही नहीं. I was in shock. So one day I was teaching opposites to my kid, and he was writing it. I was saying one word and he was writing that word and then X and then the opposite word. And I said black. So he did X, but then he said, Mama, I don't know. So I said white is the opposite. He said both are colors. एक दूसरे के opposite कैसे हो सकते हैं? And I said बस हो गया आज का ज्ञान मेरी तरफ से. अब बुक मुझे दे दो वापस.
Oh my god.
That
Mind
got me
blown.
out of that writer's block.
Yeah. Oh my god. That is so profound. Wow. Yeah.
That is the best thing I remember. Like, there are many incidents that happen on daily basis. Like, recently one happened on 1st January. He woke up and said, अब 2023 आ गया तो 2022 का December वापस कब आएगा? हम लोनावला गए थे. I said, वो नहीं आएगा अभी वापस. अब तो pics देखो. बोलता I should have enjoyed more than at that time, because once the time is gone, then nothing. मैंने बोला यार
How
हाँ ये
cute
तो
is
सही.
he? Kisses to him. He's very cute. Yes, your turn.
Okay, yes, yes. So, one piece that you have read and that has changed your perception instantly. It can be anything, a book, story, or a quote, anything, anything.
I don't remember the book, but in one of the books that I recently read, uh, the author had done something which I'm also working on my novel currently. It's a romantic comedy, and I was reading a romantic comedy also. तो उसमें मैंने पढ़ा कि it's not. I was reading this particular scene and it made me realize that I need to do this in my novel also. The author had focused more on the feelings of one particular person at a time. And I was like, this is a good way to, keep your readers not confused. So I was like, हाँ, ये कर सकते हैं. So when you're writing a particular scene, focus on the emotion of only one character. Don't focus on the emotion of all the people that are there in the scene. So वो perception change हो गया मेरा. And I was like, हाँ. As the reader also, I could understand and relate to the character more because वही एक character पे focus किया गया था. बाकी सबको observers की तरह ही रखा था.
Yes, and it's very sorted to read also, and
Yeah.
I think it would be sorted to write also.
Yeah. So you are not confusing yourself and the reader, and it becomes simple for you as well as the reader to understand, comprehend, write everything.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. My last question to you is, ये थोड़ा tricky है. If you could choose any best-selling author, not us, not indie authors, like the popular literature authors, if you could choose any best-selling author from across the world to be your close friend, who would it be and why?
I would like to be friends with Sundari ma'am, Sundari Venkatraman. She is on the cover page of the debut edition of Authoropod. And after that, I have not been able to be in touch with her more. But then, yes, I would like to be friends with her.
Nice one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She also has a very warm personality, so I agree.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, your last one.
So my last question is, what does Manali do when she is not reading or writing?
तीनों में से कोई भी एक चीज हो सकती है. Either I'm cooking, either I'm watching TV, or either I'm traveling or out with friends. ये तीनों चीज में से कुछ भी हो सकता है.
Okay. That is nice because I've been getting a visual treat from all your Insta stories. December तो full घर में बैठ के मुझे वहाँ के feelings सब आ गए. Watching your stories and I was like, oh my god, this is so cute.
That also explains why I chose rabbit, because मैं बाहर जा रही थी तो मुझे रियलाइज हो रहा था बहुत ठंड है यार. हाउ
Okay.
लकी आर रैबिट्स, उनको उनके पास नेचुरल फर है.
हाँ, natural पर है.
So yeah, this was so much fun. We have had
Yes.
a lot of viewers also. Let's see if you have any questions from them before we end. Those who are still with us, and if you have any questions for me or Nilshree, please feel free to ask in the comments. We are about to end today's live episode. It was really fun, and I learned so much from you. And especially, I think it would be helpful for those people who want to take part in an anthology. Nilshree does not charge. Nilshree is very transparent, and she publishes on each Women's Day. So if you want your story or anything to get published, please get in touch with her.
Thank you very much, Manali. And yes, as I said, if there is something that comes out in form of poetry from my side, it will be because of you. So I'll give a special credit also there that this is
I'm
inspired by
really looking
Manali.
forward to that. Whenever you put out a blog post, or even if you compile a poetry book, I would be the first cheerleader. Like, yeah, I inspired this. I made this possible.
That is such a good acknowledgement, na ki.
Yeah. Uh, in fact, a few days ago, I was talking to someone about this only, and I was telling them that, yes, a lot of people read and tell you about how their experience was, but uh, the most special compliments for me are those which come from non-readers. जब वो आके बोलते हैं ना कि we don't read much but we read yours and we liked yours, that's like doubly special.
Yes. That makes you feel special ना कि कुछ तो है मेरी बुक में जो बंदे ने मेहनत की पढ़ने की.
हाँ मतलब और बहुत सारी बुक्स है जो वो पढ़ सकता है, बट वो नॉन रीडर है और उसने मेरी बुक चुनी. और शायद मेरी बुक पढ़ने के बाद वो रीडर बन जाए. सो आई एम लाइक आई मेड दैट पॉसिबल.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's episode. If you have anything, any parting remarks to say before we end.
Any parting demands, guys? Enjoy yourself, be yourself, and thank you, Manali, for having me. It was so much fun, just like the podcast shoot. Probably more,
Yeah.
शायद. This was
Yeah.
second time. वो तो first था. First सुन के भी लग नहीं रहा था. People were like, "Was that first? You were giggling so much," and I was like, "हाँ, कर रहे थे तो कर रहे थे."
We laughed so much. Yeah, I still remember my jaws were paining. I was like, oh. We have a question from Pricked Insight. Any new book coming soon for both? Or would you like to answer that first?
What is the question? Sorry, I did not get.
They have asked us any new book coming soon.
Okay, yeah, that is Tanvi, and Tanvi, I am not sure yet because, as I said, Authorpod is keeping me very much occupied, and I'm happy with that also. But then maybe anthology, it can come out. अभी February चल रहा है तो आ सकती है.
Anyone, again, I'm reminding you, Nilshree's mission is to have a women's written anthology on each Women's Day. So get in touch with her and motivate her to bring out one more this year also.
Yes, please.
And Tanvi, my answer to your question is that yes, I am currently working on my second novel, and it will be out in March. If all things go according to plan, it should be out in March. So yes, that's my answer. We don't have anything else. She's laughing at your response. Yeah, okay. So that's about it. Thank you everyone for joining us. The video will be available on my Instagram handle and my YouTube channel. Thank you once again, Nilshree, and thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great weekend
Thank you,
ahead. Bye,
Manali.
everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.